joined us, and he's got some thoughts about this. So, Mr. Courtney, will you share?
Sure. Well, first of all, I want to thank Congressman Perlmutter and Congressman Huffman, who've been, again, diligent in terms of coming to the floor on a regular basis to push back against what's clearly a pretty coordinated, concerted effort to discredit the Mueller investigation. Really pretty disturbing on many levels, fundamentally because it's really an attack on institutions of our country, which really we all took an oath to uphold and defend. Rule of law is frankly one of the fundamental pillars of this country in terms of being a free society. And when you have folks who, again, are holding public office, going beyond just disagreements of opinion regarding actions that all of us as public officials have to be held accountable for, but to really attack the institutions themselves, which is really clearly the drumbeat of criticism of the Mueller investigation and where it's headed, is something that really we need to speak out and push back against. And again, the one-year anniversary is a very, I think, important moment to sort of step back and reflect in terms of where this investigation started and where it is today. Again, if you go back a year ago and look at the reaction that greeted this appointment from, again, Republican leaders, Newt Gingrich, Robert Mueller is a superb choice to be special counsel. His reputation is impeccable for honesty and integrity. Speaker Paul Ryan, my priority has been to ensure thorough and independent investigations are allowed to follow the facts where they may lead. The addition of Robert Mueller as special counsel is consistent with this goal, and I welcome his role at the Department of Justice. Senator Cory Gardner, Robert Mueller has incredible reputation. Senator Orrin Hatch, I commend the Department of Justice for bringing an independent voice to help clarify this situation. The list goes on and on. And again, why not? I mean, Robert Mueller is somebody whose record of service to this country, going back to when he was a Marine, in Vietnam, led a rifle platoon, was wounded, received a Purple Heart, as well as the Vietnamese Cross of Gallantry and 2 Navy Commendation Medals for his military service. He went on, obviously, to become a distinguished legal practitioner, was appointed by President Bush to be the head of the FBI, and did such a great job after his 10-year term. The U.S. Senate extended his term by 2 years by a vote of 100-0. Wow. So, I mean, when you're talking about somebody who has really earned a reputation for being really a pretty conservative prosecutor, both in terms of his time as a U.S. attorney and also in terms of his term as head of the FBI, we're dealing with someone who is beyond reproach, frankly. And as you pointed out, Mr. Perlmutter, the decision that came down at the Washington, D.C. District Court by federal judge Amy Berman Jackson, a 37-page opinion, which, again, pushed back very powerfully about the notion that somehow he has strayed from his mission that the Department of Justice gave him. Again, her decision just in case after case points out that the indictment of Manafort fell perfectly within the charge that he was given by Assistant U.S. Attorney Rosenstein, which, again, is to investigate other issues that, quote, may arise from the investigation. Again, in the case of Manafort, I mean, we're talking about somebody who was squarely within the intelligence community's conclusion that the election was basically under attack from Russians. Manafort's connections to Ukrainian interests, which clearly were sort of on the Russian side of the Ukrainian politics, is just an obvious place for the special counsel to pursue. So, again, as you point out, the number of indictments, the number of convictions clearly show that this is not a fishing expedition. It's not a witch hunt. It's a serious prosecution whose every step of the way actions have been ratified by the courts and also ratified by the appointing authority, Mr. Rosenstein. And it is time for all elected officials to step back and let this process proceed. Again, people can the forensics on this in terms of just the endorsements to Mr. Mueller's credibility and experience and knowledge in this area scream out for all of us to respect the rule of law and let this investigation proceed. So again, thank you for holding this event on the one-year milestone of the Mueller investigation.